Morning, YouTube. Well, you may guess that today we're visiting Arches National Park. This is Wilson Arch. It's the first one you come to when you come up 191, and I'm still headed into Moab, so pretty cool. I'm sure we'll see some up a little closer. So how do these arches form? Well, this is Enstrada sandstone, and you can see some across the way. And if you look, you can see where there's like little cracks all through there. Those cracks would fill up with water, freeze in the winter, break the rock loose. When it melted in the desert sun, those little pieces of rock would fall off, and the real strong winds here would move them around and move them away, eventually turn some of them into sand. Then after a while you get up with these freestanding fins like this, where it's not too thick, okay? And then in some cases where it was a little bit weaker, like where the arch is, it would eventually, same process, eventually it would form a hole all the way through. And if the stone was a little harder around those areas, that was what was remaining. So that's how you end up with these arches. So pretty cool. All right, so this is Sand Dune Arch. Easy walking in from the parking lot, and gonna head off down the trail and see the next arch. So this area was covered by an ancient sea before the upheaval, and when that sea evaporated, it left layers of salt, and over the course of time, sea came back, dried up, layers and layers of salt, interspersed with sandstone, and as it came up, or when the continental plates hit, it created a fracture in this area, and the salt, well, under pressure, was being pushed. It basically, under that pressure, turned a liquid, pushed, became a giant salt dome, pushed this whole area up, and as it did, it cracked apart. So all these fissures between these areas are where that dome pushed it up. And eventually the salt dissolved away, it collapsed back down, pushed them all back together. So as you can see over here, how they all, so that's how, basically how all those fractures happened. And then, well, that's, now the erosional process that form these arches is still going on. Wind, rain, freezing temperatures, baking sun, and this whole area is covered in this very, very fine sand. This is even finer than that gypsum sand I found it White Sands National Monument, which at the time I thought was pretty fine sand. This is even finer than that. And imagine this picks up, the wind blows it against the rocks, and that helps with the erosion. Basically just sandblasting the rocks. So this is an ongoing process. There's new arches slowly being formed. Old arches are eroding away and eventually collapse. I guess there was one called Wall Arch that collapsed back in 2008, only 9 years ago. So this is called Broken Arch. If you look right up there, you see that crack? I don't know if you can see that, but that crack goes all the way through. So at some point, erosion is going to really take hold and this is going to come crashing down. So right now, I would call it cracked arch, but they call it broken arch. Now they call this the fiery furnace, and not because it's hot, because when the sun gets low, it sort of give off a rosy glow. But as you can see what it is, a lot of little shady canyons, little nice spots to get away. In the late 1800s, John Wesley Wolfe and his son John came here from Ohio. He was suffering from a Civil War wound, that the humid and the climate in Ohio just really was bothering him, wanted a drier place, moved here. This is not the original cabin. 10 years later? Well, anyway, a few years later, his daughter moved out here with her husband and was appalled at the conditions that her dad was living in, and talked him into building a better cabin with a wood floor. This is it. So it's a one-room cabin. This dugout down in here, I gotta figure it was like a root cellar, dug down into the earth, be a little bit cooler. He settled here for the water and, like I said, the drier climate. So, I don't know if you can see this. Well, that was it. Swanky wood floor.
Hello, you're almost there.
That's what everybody keeps telling me.
You're seriously, you're almost there.
I know.
Yeah.
At least this isn't bad. Well, YouTube, it's a long climb up here to Delicate Arch, but well worth it. So I'm going to leave you there. See you down the road. I don't know where I'm going next. First, I have to get to the parking lot. Here's a shot. I'll put an arrow where my bus is so you can see how far away it is. Right? See you later, YouTube. Okay, YouTube, I climbed up here. I'm going to take a nap. Enjoy. So I need to get a hold of the Park Service. For some reason, this escalator is out of service. I don't understand.